So as you guys know, if you use YouTube, it's very likely that you use a lot of the other popular social media platforms out there, like Instagram, Twitter, just to name a couple of the ones that are just ridiculously active, and I don't know how people sit on both of them as long as they do, because it is just a fucking... Sometimes every single day I muster up enough strength, enough energy, enough security in myself to know that when I go and get on this website and I read some shit, it might hurt my feelings or make me really angry. I prep myself for this each and every single time, and when things do piss me off or annoy the shit out of me, I used to make videos about them, but now, you know, I felt like that was just me crying and complaining about things. So I want to simply speak from the perspective of a sinner, the perspective of the outcast, the perspective of the not so popular. So before I speak from this perspective, I just want to point out that we're getting closer and closer to 3 million subscribers each and every single day. I upload every single day, or as much as I possibly can anyway. Let's get into the video. Anyway, I have a Google Pixel, okay? I mean, it's pretty dirty, but this thing from a distance at sometimes people have mistaken for an iPhone, and they've gone up to me and they've talked to me and they're like, I'll send you something over on iMessage or some shit like that, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I guess you want to text me, and then they end up texting me, and then they go, ew, you have an Android. I don't really know exactly how or why people know that I have an Android in that sense. I don't really know what indicates the difference between me sending messages to people on iPhone or if it's on, I don't really know. I've never owned an iPhone in my life. But when you go on to these certain apps, especially Twitter, it is just a cesspool of just fresh memes each and every single day. It's quite a beautiful thing, and it smells like shit, and it's awesome. The recent thing that I've seen for the past week or so, I tried to ignore it and hope that it would die down and not actually be some sort of valid insult. But each and every single time that I have tweeted throughout this thing, including the tweets that are just the automated tweets that automatically go there whenever I upload a video just like this. Twitter had an update recently, a week or two ago, I'm not really sure. They updated and said exactly where the tweets were sent from, whether it's from the web client, whether it's from an iPhone or Android or anything else I can tweet, I guess. I don't really know. I see some memes out there saying that people can tweet from Leapfrog tablets. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but I was never really a big tablet guy. I was just big into gaming, playing all these video games and shit, some PC games, and then just a, you know, a simple phone, and my phone does whatever. I hardly play any mobile games anyway. Now, here's the thing. Ever since the beginning of time, I just never really cared about getting an iPhone. So it doesn't really seem like a big deal, you know? It's just like, oh, somebody tweeted it from this device. It should be like a minor detail, so much to the point to where it's basically like a minuscule little thing right underneath of the tweet. No one cares, except for Twitter. So now it's become a common or funny thing for, I'm assuming, people that don't have Androids to make fun of everybody that have Androids. Now, this is an ongoing thing, okay, for, you know, all these people that were already getting made fun of for having an Android. Usually they're talking about like bad quality, shitty microphones, things like that, making jokes about like super pixelated videos and shit like that. I've seen those. I understand where people are coming from. I get it. But now us Android users, I mean, I'm not very ashamed, but we can't even hide anymore. I love Android. It's been good to me. It doesn't have any problems. It does what I needed to do, even though, you know, half the time the shit's just on do not disturb and I don't answer shit from anybody. I leave the shit, just put it somewhere. I don't give a fuck. It might be different to other people that are like fucking glued into their shit tweeting all day. I know that's a real thing. There's people out there that spend all day in their room. Hey, isn't that funny, guys? Guys? Now, before I start saying something that would actually offend people, okay? I don't give a single shit what you use. I don't have a hatred for iPhone. It doesn't cross my mind to go and buy and use one of them. Whenever I see a new one that comes out, it's virtually just a thing where I look at it, go, another one. Okay. This is as simple as like driver updates for me. I don't give a shit. I click on it, I see it, okay, cool. Now, past all of these jokes about the quality of the phones and all of this other shit, now all of us Android users can't even fucking tweet, or we're terrified to sit there and tweet, or they have swapped over to a web client to try to just mask it off. See, now, I'm not ashamed. I'm gonna stand up for us. This is not an Android versus Apple video. I don't care. Let me just speak as a human being that just so happened to be unlucky enough to be on the tail end of some fucking joke on Twitter that I can't seem to get away from. Each and every single time there's somebody that sits there and they just screenshot the thing, Twitter from Android, and then they get like 50 likes every single time. How are you laughing? I honestly just have a hard time believing that anyone is actually laughing at this anymore. Maybe it would have been funny for a couple days. Fine. Or maybe even just a few replies and just have it stolen a couple times, whatever. But now it's just an epidemic. First the oh yeah comments, got some other shit going on and I'll talk about, and then my mentions are just filled with this stupid picture. This doesn't hurt me. Dude, for some reason, I feel like people genuinely think, I mean, maybe I've just been watching a little bit too much Mindhunter or something like that. You should go and check that out on Netflix, by the way. I'm not sponsored, but pretty fucking good. It's just psychological shit, right? I feel like people psychologically evaluate people based on their phone. Maybe I'm just not realizing that I'm weird. See, as an Android user looking from the outside in to, I guess, the cool kids club of all the people using their iPhones, for the longest time, I just saw it as like, okay, yeah, they just like this phone better. It looks cooler, or like they like the operating system better, or some shit like that. I don't know. But now it just turns into this tribal thing. If I so much as mention the word Android, I should just say anybody, because I've come across maybe 2 or 3 other people that I've seen in real life that actually are still using Androids with me. Everybody else, all these other people, you're all using iPhones. I get it, but for some reason there is something inside of these Apple users, or at least not Android users anyway, that just can't quite not insult you about it. It's the same thing with those people walking around with AirPods and they're like calling people broke and shit. Honestly, dude, the AirPods, how much are they even that expensive? Like, let's be real. Buy AirPods. They're $160. I mean, not to sound like some D-bag that has money spewing out of his asshole, but you're not walking around with a diamond encrusted fucking crown on your head. It's nice. Sure. Yeah, great. That's sick. Cool. No wires and shit. Anybody else that doesn't have them though, when they're looking around at you, they're not envious. They're just wondering who the fuck you're talking to. Is that the same shit that happens with like people that have Bluetooth anything whenever they just walk around and they just start talking in the middle of the store to nobody, and then you have to do that like awkward thing after you've made eye contact with them because you thought that they were talking to you, and then they just like completely ignore you and blow you off and continue having their conversation as if like this is a very normal and respectful thing to do to people? There just seems to be this burning fantastic passion inside of, man, I'm watching way too much Mindhunter. There's this burning passion for somebody to just at least audibly make some sort of disgusted noise whenever I mention that I even have an Android. I can walk outside right now, 3 a.m., say I have an Android, and I can hear somebody audibly gag 2 blocks away. What did I do wrong? I simply just wanted to buy a phone, and it was a nice phone at the time, okay? It wasn't much more expensive, and it wasn't cheaper. It was virtually the same ballpark range of prices here. As an Android user, you basically are getting bullied relentlessly until you swap to something else. Why? Fucking memes, I don't know. I think people actually genuinely believe because of my choice of phone that I'm some sort of fucking psychopath. I mean, I might be, I don't fucking know. I mean, I guess psychopaths don't know this shit, right? But over my phone? Why? I've seen tweets that have said shit like, man, I just saw this really cute guy at the bar earlier. That guy was a solid 10. And then I saw him pull his phone out and it was an Android. Now he's a 7. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna sit there and ignore the insult about you're basically just uglier if you're using an Android. But a 7 ain't bad. I'm just saying. Now, here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people just end up swapping phones the same way they end up swapping consoles, for example. Like if all of your friends have a certain console and you want to play with them, or you usually go and get the console that all of your friends are on. Otherwise, it's difficult, you know? You're just gonna be sitting there like, hey man, what are you doing? And then they name some sort of exclusive, and then you're just stuck sitting there playing your exclusive, and then you're both exclusive, and then you're not friends anymore. And then it somewhat happens whenever you're using your phones, except I can still speak to you. I can still talk to you. I can still text you. What am I doing? Or more so, what am I not doing that you're doing? Please, I just want to know. Why is it? Why is it that? Why are people getting called broken psychopaths? It's just like, hey, I looked at it. This is what I like more. It looks cooler aesthetically or whatever. I like the feel of it, or I like the interface or whatever. Why us Android? I'm gonna throw up. No targeted hatred towards Apple. It just so happens that everybody that ever makes fun of me is always tweeting off of their iPhone about how broke I am. It's like, why make a video about it if you don't care about it, right? If it's not that big of a deal and you're able to just look past everything and just look at a phone, as a communication device, and not some sort of statement or fashion thing or some shit. Instead, I have young little Jimmy here calling me a broke bum and saying that he's gonna pound my mother doggy style with his AirPods in. For what? What are you even listening to? I don't get it. Fuck off, Jimmy. I just so happen to join a team that gets made fun of, and I don't know why. I will not feel ashamed. I just want to stop being attacked. Don't talk to me or any of my Android friends ever again. Unless, you know, you want to have a nice conversation and not actually make fun of us. That'd be great. So, in conclusion to this whole thing, I honestly don't really know why I'm saying anything. It's literally just going to make this whole thing worse for me. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if it started in the comment sections too. Next is going to be YouTube for Android. It's always that cliche thing where they always go and say things like, oh, Android users always sit there and just talk about how powerful their phone is and how much better it is than iPhone, and they're just tech savvy and all this other shit. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'd pick the phone because it was faster at the time anyway, but I don't really care. The next time that you're thinking that you're having a bad day, go to a mall. Go to a public place with many people and pull out your phone. If you don't look around and see at least 2 to 3 children giggling at you, take the case off of your phone and then they'll laugh. It's just fucked up. Imagine you got a phone call It's your mother. You love her, she loves you. You answer the phone, you're having a nice conversation. She pauses for a second after she notices a slight difference in the sound of your voice in comparison to other people's voices. She asks, what kind of phone do you have? Do you lie to your own mother, or do you want her to hang up on you? I'm just picking a phone that just seemed nice and simple and easy, and it was fast, and the price was around the same as all the other ones. I like the look of it. It was cool, and I'm not ashamed. I'm just disappointed.